guys, today I want to show you how I do my hair with henna. I am coloring my medium dark brown hair with red henna from Light Mountain. I've been using Light Mountain for several years now. I have tried Lush before, but Light Mountain is what I like to go with nowadays. I've been coloring my hair with henna for several years now. I did go through like an indigo phase a couple years back. I would not recommend indigo unless you're like super duper committed to black hair, because it is like super duper black and it does not come out and it is very, very permanent. So if you want dark hair, that's the way to go. But if you're like kind of on the fence about it, like don't even try it because it's very hard to get out. My hair has since recovered from that. It's fully hennaed now. There's no more black left in it. And I love it. I love the way that henna looks. It's so gorgeous in the sunlight. Like, it is stunning in the sunlight. I just absolutely love it. It doesn't lighten your hair. It just colors over the hair that you already have. So if you want like a super duper bright red, you're gonna have to bleach your hair or do something to it beforehand. I've never colored my hair with any other conventional dye. I've only used natural dyes on it, so I don't know exactly personally firsthand about all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in the natural way of things, keep on watching. Step number 1, you want to wash your hair with shampoo only. I typically do this like the day before. Just shampoo it. Don't add any conditioner, don't add any leave-in conditioner or anything extra on top of it. Just wash your hair, get your hair washed, and then wait for the next day. Next day, you want to mix up your mix of henna. And this is something you're going to want to let sit for a while. Henna is a day-long experience. You're not gonna get it done in half an hour or an hour. It's like a big extravaganza. So you wanna set aside a whole day for doing your hair, essentially. When you're mixing up your henna, you want to add hot water to it because that helps to activate the henna and make the color actually come out of it. I like to add a little bit of lemon juice as well because they say that it brings a vibrancy to it. It makes it more, you know, like bright red. It brings like a little bit of brightness to your hair and it'll help like kind of lighten your hair a little bit. Also, they say if you have hard water, it's good to add lemon juice, and we definitely have hard water here in my house. So for both reasons, I use lemon juice in mine. And you want hot water. I just turn my faucet on as hot as it goes and fill up a big cup of water. I don't know exactly how much that is. I just kind of mix it until I get to the consistency that I like. The whole packet, I used the whole packet this time, and I used a whole cup of water. So however big that glass is, plus the packet, that's how much I was using. And then once you have the consistency nice, you don't want it to be too runny because it's going to be a pain in the butt to have it on your head for so long if it's too runny. But you don't want it too thick just because it gets a little bit difficult to work with. You just want a really nice, like I would say almost like a cake batter or kind of consistent, like maybe a brownie batter kind of consistency. Then you want it to sit. So you want to cover up your henna just to keep the heat inside. So I put a little towel on top of my bowl. And you want to let it sit for a while for the color to fully activate. This can take, you know, maybe half an hour, maybe an hour. I think I went about 50 minutes or so this time around. You can come back and check the henna. You just take a little dab of it, put it on your hand, let it sit there for a little while and wipe it away, and then you'll be able to see the color transferring to your hand, so you can see when it's starting to activate and see if it's ready to go. So henna is a messy experience. You want to prepare your workspace accordingly. You want to lay down stuff that's gonna protect all the things in your bathroom or wherever you're doing this. If it's summertime, go do your henna outside. I would highly recommend it. But inside in your bathroom, you want to cover things. I cover the floor with a towel. I sometimes cover like half of the vanity with a towel. It will stain some things if it gets on them. I've noticed that it doesn't stain my countertops or my floor, but for some reason it stained my light switch plate. Like one little speck got on the light switch plate and you could see it there. So I don't know exactly how it works, but it will stain some things, but not other things. You want to wear junky clothing. I always try to wear black just because it's not going to show if it does stain. Just wear stuff that you don't care if it gets gross because the henna will stain it. Get yourself some plastic gloves. Definitely, totally, I would definitely recommend that because if you get it up into your like fingernails and like up under your nails and like in all the ridges of your fingers and stuff, it's gonna stain and it's gonna be there for a week or so. So just get yourself some gloves and just like take care of it that way. You can change out your gloves. It makes things a lot easier, not having to worry about your hands being super duper gross. If you like need to do something in the middle of your henna job and you can just remove your gloves and go take care of that thing and then come back and get a new pair of gloves, makes things a lot easier. Or like if you are watching on your phone, maybe you're watching some videos while you're doing your hair, you can just remove your gloves to change the video or whatever and not have to like rinse everything off, you know? So it just makes things a lot easier. I would kind of recommend to invest in a little hair dye brush just to kind of make things a little bit easier. I didn't use that for a while, but once I bought myself one, I was super glad that I did. Just being able to do your roots and like do the little fine areas like around your ears and stuff with the brush makes things a little less messy. Now, step number 4 is actually applying the henna, and this is the messy part. When I had shorter hair, I would start from the bottom and work my way up to the top. But now that my hair is a little longer, I like to start at the top and work my way down. So the way that I do it is just kind of take it section by section, starting with like your bangs section, like way up top here. And once you have that section like coated, just kind of create a little bun on top of your head. So you're just like piling each little strand up on top of your head each time. Don't do too many twists because it's just going to turn to a giant knot, but just like plop it up there and keep it up top. This is kind of beneficial because if you end up running out of product, like kind of toward the, you know, like if you're getting like kind of toward the end and you're running, you notice that you're running out of product, you can just kind of like throw everything in there and not have to worry too much about it, since the underside of your hair isn't necessarily the most important part of dyeing your hair, you know? So you've got the most important part taken care of already, even if you're kind of running out toward the end. But you should not run out toward the end. Like I had plenty left over for my medium length hair and that full packet. It might just kind of be up to you. You might just have to kind of mess around with it a little bit to see exactly how you want to start out applying your henna. But I typically, once I get everything coated and everything's up on top of my head, I will then go back in with leftover henna and just kind of scoop it and like place it all over my head. And then I'll go in with the brush and like do all of the edges and make sure that I've got my hairline and the back and everything. You want to use like a mirror and your like bathroom mirror and like make sure that you're getting all of your neck area nice and good and around the ears and stuff, and just make sure that everything's nice and tidy. Just use whatever kind of leftover henna that you have there and just kind of smush it all over the place. Now once you have that actually completed, if you are going for a bright red, I would recommend covering your hair with some plastic wrap. I believe the pack of Light Mountain actually comes with some kind of like head piece that you can put on, but I just use saran wrap and wrap up my hair. It'll hold the heat in from your head and the hair, so the heat is what's making it vibrant and red. And so I also like to put on a beanie, some kind of hat or something on top of that, just for extra heat and extra holding it in. That can become an issue if you've made your mix a little too runny. Sometimes the extra heat from the beanie can create, you know, drips and stuff, and that's just a pain in the butt. Let me tell you, I've had several occasions where I've made my mix way too runny, and putting a beanie on top, it just makes it so much more difficult. So you might want to skip that step if you have made it a little too runny and you don't want to have to deal with all the drips and everything. And you can even go in and blow dry your hair every once in a while just for the heat of it. Just to kind of add a little extra heat every, you know, 15-20 minutes or so. You can do that to kind of bring out the vibrancy of your hair. I've done that on several occasions, but I don't think that it really makes that big of a difference in the end, personally at least. Now you have to wait. And the waiting part is kind of the sucky part. Some people will wear their henna overnight. Some people will wear it all day long. I mean, several hours. I typically go about 2 or 3 hours and I get beautiful, vibrant, long-lasting henna. So I think 2 or 3 hours is perfectly fine. It can have a lot to do with whether or not you let your henna sit beforehand. So the fact that I let mine sit for like 50 minutes before I even applied it so that the color could activate, that's an extra 50 minutes. It doesn't have to be on my head. So if you just mix yours up and straight away put it on your head, you probably want to leave it the extra 50 minutes. So you might want to go 3 or 4 hours instead of 2 or 3, because you need to wait for the henna to start the color activation process. Henna itself is conditioning. It's not hurting your hair. Leaving it on longer is not going to cause any more damage or anything. It's just going to make your color better, actually. Step number 6 is to rinse, and this is kind of gross. Once again, if it's summertime, do it outside. Go get yourself a hose, get in the backyard, and just rinse out your hair outside. It'll make things so much easier. I like to turn my head over under, like turn on the faucet like you're running a bath, and then just throw my head underneath the running water right there, not the shower head, just the faucet, and rinse out as much as I possibly can. Just down low where the water's nice and concentrated and you're getting all the big chunks and everything out. And then once I feel like I've got it mostly rinsed, then I'll actually hop in the shower, turn on the shower head, and like actually wash my hair. Now having the saran wrap on your head can kind of leave the henna in a more liquidy state, so it actually makes it a little bit easier to remove in the end. If you leave your hair open, out in the open, it can get kind of a muddy effect, like it feels like hardened mud. Whereas if you're keeping it warm the whole time and it's close to your scalp and the heat of your own body is like keeping it in a liquidy state, it makes it easier to rinse out. I hope that makes sense. If you leave your hair open, it can kind of harden and make it a little more difficult to rinse out in the end. So for the actual rinsing process, I only use conditioner. I actually use like a cleansing conditioner from like Herbal Essences or something like that, like a big giant thing of it. And I rinsed it 3 times this time. I always recommend, once you think you've got it rinsed completely, do it one more time just to be safe, because there have been times where I've gotten out and just kind of like scratched my head and like you can see like little, like it looks like dirt under your nails and you're like, I should have rinsed one more time. So I totally recommend at least rinsing 3 times to get everything out of your hair. Don't use any shampoo just because it can kind of strip your hair. Shampoo is meant to cleanse your hair, so it could possibly strip out some of the color. Conditioner isn't going to do that as much. And then from that point on, I don't wash my hair with shampoo for another 48 hours. So I wait 2 more days before I really actually wash my hair after I've done my henna. And that's just to let the henna sink into your hair, because it does take 48 hours for the full color effect to appear. The first day that you do your henna, if you're doing red, it's gonna look like super duper orange and very, very vibrant and maybe a little more intense than you were hoping for. So just give it a day. Your roots may be extra orangey, but just give it a day or 2 and it'll calm down a little bit. It does take about 48 hours for your color to settle down to the actual color that it's going to continue being. And let me tell you, henna will last forever. It is so vibrant. The only reason I need to do my hair is because my roots are growing out. Everything below the roots is always super vibrant and beautiful and awesome and red for months and months and months and months and months. You could probably see in my before footage that the bottom part of my hair is like still super duper red, even though it's been literally 6 months since I last hennaed my hair. It's just my roots, my brown roots start showing, and that's why I need to do it. So it's a very permanent thing. It's a very long lasting thing, and it's super vibrant and super beautiful, but you do need to keep up on your roots, of course, because the hair coming out of your head is not going to be the same color. But I also think that it's a very natural color. Because it's not totally altering your hair, it's just coloring over your original hair color, it looks very natural, and as it grows out, it's not very stark and scary to see your roots coming through. Like I was mentioning to my husband the other day that, like, I was like, oh, I need to do my hair. My roots are looking terrible. And I took him outside so he could film my before shots for me. And he's like, you know, I really can't even tell like where the color starts or ends, because it's so natural. It really just blends beautifully. It doesn't look super stark like a traditional dye can. So after I did my hair, I was like, can you tell now? Can you tell that it's more red and vibrant? And he's like, yeah, you can kind of tell up toward the top and whatnot, but it's just a very natural look. Like I said, it's coloring over your hair. It's not actually like altering the color of your hair. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I don't know. So yeah, I'm totally a fan of henna. I absolutely love it. I would definitely recommend it to anybody who's looking for a super cool red color. Light Mountain actually does offer a bunch of different colors, and you can look up, you know, just Google different, you know, brunette, medium brunette hair with Light Mountain mahogany or something, you know, like you can Google it and try to see what's going on. That's why I think these kind of videos are very helpful, just to kind of see, because henna is changing the color of your hair naturally, it's kind of hard to tell exactly how it's going to turn out. So seeing other people's results can be very, very helpful in this process. I'm not sponsored by Light Mountain or anything. I don't know if that kind of came across that way, but that's just the brand that I've been using. I've tried their bright red. I feel like I've tried a brunette one from them, like a mahogany or burgundy color from them, and I've used their black indigo, and now I'm just using their regular red one. So I've tried several colors from them, and I've always been happy with the results. They are beautiful, natural colors. I would totally recommend the brand. And they're very affordable. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did like it. I hope this was informational or helpful or whatever. If you do have any questions, please leave them down below. I tried to be as thorough as possible, but if there is anything that I missed, please let me know and I will try to get to you guys down there. I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you next time.